Right now, on the National Weather Desk, coastal flooding. A powerful high tide brings massive waves and flooding to Maine communities.
It's just crazy. Never in all my lifetime have I seen this.
Record rainfall in Charleston leaves businesses waterlogged.
Within 45 minutes, it was like 4 inches of water.
How Hawaii is planning to use artificial intelligence to help fight wildfires.
Detecting fires at the very early phases will save lives.
Can Alabama's peach crop rebound from last year's frozen disaster?
Definitely went into it thinking, what if it happens again?
Then, the skier who fell into a hidden waterfall. And it's all caught on camera.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Amira David. It's been a winter to remember in Maine, but for all the wrong reasons. Numerous storms damaged coastal communities, and it happened again over the weekend. These powerful waves caught crashing at a popular lighthouse known as the Portland Headlight yesterday. Crowds gathering to see the power of the ocean, and they weren't disappointed. The high tide in Portland cracked the all-time top 10 list for the third time this year. In Portland's Old Port, several roads and piers flooded, kegs and debris floating in the streets. Several roads were blocked off on Sunday afternoon until the water receded. And just south of Portland, in the suburb of Scarborough, it's a scene of flooded roads and powerful waves around popular Higgins Beach. It's the third time this year residents have experienced flooding. Asia Reed has more.
I'm from Boston, but I just come up to check on it because the last two storms, I was just hoping like it didn't float down the road, you know?
Michael Ruin made the trip up to Higgins Beach to make sure his summer house was okay. The house is undamaged, but the roads, not so much. Vesper Street in Scarborough looks like a river and is coated in seafoam. All hands on deck, big or small, to help cleaning up the roads and property after high tide Sunday. John Moore and his son Finn live along the beach here and are moving debris.
Finn wanted to do his part to help clean things up, so getting out here, he has his own little wheelbarrow and shovel.
Driveways in the area are flooded, and water reached all the way to front steps of several houses. Elizabeth Flaherty lives on this road and is in disbelief.
It's just crazy. Never in all my lifetime have I seen this.
Bayview Ave is right along the ocean here, and folks are out surveying the damage. Judy Hodgson being one of them.
It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this before.
This storm took out a massive beam and chunks of the road too. Waves crashing over the seawall and creeping up to homes. A little too close for comfort after the storms we saw earlier this year.
We're still not repaired from what happened in January and December, so it's pretty rough.
A powerful storm system brought strong winds and heavy rain to South Carolina. That led to flooding in several communities. The winds also caused significant damage. Lauren Lennon has more.
And all of a sudden, this west side of the building just sort of went white.
Recalling the very moment disaster struck.
The windows started flexing. They ran for the hallway, and the next thing you know, the windows blew in. And I don't know the exact term, maybe a microburst, but it tore the part of our roof off, and Sherwin-Williams and Eto golf cart had roof damage. Eto's roof blew into the power line and snapped the top 6 or 8 feet off of a power pole and took that into the overpass.
When we came in, everything looked pretty normal. We know it floods a lot just on the island anyway, so we had kind of anticipated maybe something. But within minutes, in cracks and corners and crevices, we saw stuff start to kind of pool in little by little, and we'd go, make a coffee, come back, and it was bigger, and then within 45 minutes, it was like 4 inches of water.
One staff member says this is the 4th time in 6 months that their business has flooded.
Well, those storms also brought heavy rain to Alabama on Friday. Nearly 4 inches of rain falling in Headland and southeast Alabama, leaving water in yards and in the streets. It's an area that prone to flooding because drains are often clogged. Thankfully, there are no reports of any serious damage. In much of the Northeast today, the story continues to be the wind. In Maryland yesterday, 50-mile-per-hour winds brought down a massive tree. It hit a home, but no one was injured, thankfully. Those winds are continuing this morning, both in Washington and up into the Northeast, including in Syracuse. That city also seeing snow, a rarity in what's been a record low year for snow there. Nicole LaFiandra is out in the elements.
It is wet, it is windy, the flags in Clinton Square are whipping, but the roads look a lot better than they did when we first got out here at 4:30 this morning. So you're taking a live look out onto Erie Boulevard West, where we're stationed right now, right outside of the Clinton Square ice rink. So one of the biggest threats we're anticipating is the blowing snow accumulating on tree limbs and then blowing over into power lines. So we just checked, and the Second National Grid isn't reporting any outages for Onondaga County, and NYSEG is also showing mostly clear for power outages. But the threat's still there. It's also important to remember the roads that haven't been plowed underneath that snow. It could be ice covered, so just important to take things pretty slowly today.
That same system brought whiteout conditions to central Pennsylvania on Sunday. Several snow squalls and strong winds moved through the region. Visibility was reduced to just over 600 feet, while the temperature quickly dropped 10 degrees. And officials in Hawaii are hoping artificial intelligence can prevent wildfires. They've unveiled a new fire detecting technology aimed at preventing another disaster 7 months after the Maui wildfires claimed the lives of more than 100 people. Chelsea Davis has the details.
As firefighters and public servants, I can tell you that we often vow never again.
United States Fire Administrator Dr. Lori Moore Merrill promising the people of Hawaii that they have learned valuable lessons from the wildfire disaster on Maui 7 months ago. So starting next month, they plan to deploy these fire sensors across the entire state. 80 distributed among the 4 counties, 20 here on the Valley Isle, ideally to the south and west side of the island.
These are the 2 areas that we have chosen that we feel have high risk for our community, and if the program is successful, which we intend it to be, then we'll be able to acquire more sensors and deploy them throughout the county and other places.
Together we're working to identify existing infrastructure to install the sensors, for example, on the poles of our all-hazard sirens.
These are smart sensors with artificial intelligence built into them.
The air here is different. You have volcanic ash, you have other conditions. And what smart sensors like this will learn is what does the air feel like here? And what does an anomaly look like? What is a barbecue? What is a fire? What is something else? So you're not always getting false alarms.
With this new technology, detecting fires at the very early phases will save lives.
They will be mounted on poles throughout the communities, and when it detects a fire, it will send a text alert to whoever is opted in.
The range is pretty extraordinary of these sensors. So the sensors can be, more than a mile away. In some cases, this thing could detect fire from 5 miles away under some circumstances.
The sensors are powered by the sun and has up to 2 weeks of battery life. The federal government is covering the cost.
Killington Ski Resort in Vermont is basking in some mid-March snowfall. Look at that, 19 inches falling in the last 2 days. Meteorologist David Glenn posted this video on Facebook showing crowds at the top of Killington Peak looking to enjoy a nice powdered day. And a skier in Japan survived an experience he is sure never to forget. The New Zealand man was skiing through fantastic backcountry conditions when he suddenly came across a hidden waterfall, and he fell right into the 20-foot hole. You can see it there. His GoPro captured the entire ordeal. Remarkably, he was not hurt, and he was able to get himself out of that hole, which was actually a natural hot spring. What a story. Efforts underway right now along Florida's Gulf Coast to rescue a beached sperm whale. Police in Venice, along with members of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Department, are helping wildlife crews assess the whale's condition. The sperm whale beached itself on a sandbar off the coast of Venice on Sunday. Police have closed off access to the beach area until further notice. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we're going to head to Alabama to check on this year's peach crop.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn with a look at the Northeast as we head through the daytime today. We are going to see some snow showers up to the north. Most areas, though, the weather story is going to be the wind. It is going to be very windy out there. Temperatures in the 30s throughout much of the region, and then it will stay breezy into the day on Tuesday as well. But most of the next 2 days are going to stay on the dry side. Let's get a look at the high temperatures for this afternoon. Temperatures in the 40s for most, near 50 south.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. It has been a cold and windy Sunday night, but as we move through your Monday, a lot better. We will see sunshine across the area. It will still be chilly, it will still be windy, and we'll see some big temperature changes as we move ahead, but we are nice and dry through Tuesday into Wednesday. Temperatures still pretty mild through your afternoon on Monday. Temperatures around 52, 53 degrees, but a lot warmer on Tuesday.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. 61 degrees in Nashville, 61 in Raleigh. Looking at Atlanta, 63 degrees, 66 in Mobile, Jacksonville 65. And we're seeing those upper 70s across South Florida. Lots of clear skies across parts of the southeast with high pressure pretty much in control. Just a little wave of some clouds moving over parts of the Gulf states. We'll see that throughout the day. But many other areas stretching across Tennessee, Mississippi are going to get nice clear conditions as we go through the next few days with a dry weather pattern.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
In Alabama, lots of peaches sold there last year were grown in other states. That's because of a late freeze during the 2023 growing season that wiped out orchards. But farmers are hoping this year will be different. As Gracie Johnson reports, so far it's looking like a very sweet season.
Income-wise, it was a hit below the waterline.
Kenyon Easterling's family has grown peaches since 1948. Last year was the most detrimental frost he can remember.
Definitely went into it thinking, what if it happens again? But there's just so much you can do for preparing for it. You just, you grab on, hold on, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and pray a lot.
One way Easterling said they prepare for cold weather is by keeping this brush pile prepared all season long. If cold weather's in the forecast, they'll light a fire, which generates heat for the orchard. This is something they tried last year with no success.
The temperature went down so far, it was just so devastating that it was just, there wasn't really, you can't move the thermometer that much.
Easterling hopes to avoid taking those measures this year.
As long as the temperature stays seasonal, as long as when it starts warming up, it stays warm and stays seasonal, we're good. These cold snaps is what hurts us, but as far as the weather goes right now, dormant hours, chill hours, we're looking good.
Easterling says they will begin pruning trees on Monday, and harvest comes in May.
Go out and support your local peach farmer because it's not easy.
And we continue our countdown to the solar eclipse across America, now less than a month away. More than 31 million people across 15 states will see the moon completely cover the sun on April 8th. The contiguous United States won't see another total solar eclipse until the year 2044. Emily Gracie spoke with a NASA scientist about how to prepare for this exciting event.
So for this one coming up on April 8th, we have a lot of different folks that are going to be able to witness the path of totality. But for anyone else who's in the U.S., you will still get to view a partial eclipse.
No, I know that you can take off the safety glasses when you're in that couple of minutes or whatever of totality. How do you know when you're in that time period and if it's safe to take off the glasses and look up?
When you're looking through the glasses, you actually won't see anything at totality because the sun is completely blocked. So that's when you'll know, oh, I should take them off if I want to see something. And so that's when, if you remove your glasses, then you should be able to see the outer atmosphere of the sun, or called the corona. And so because we're kind of getting close to solar max right now in 2024, so the sun should be more active. So there's usually these little kind of wispy things that will come and pop out from behind the moon. And so we're all hoping that we can see that, because as a more active sun, we'll probably see kind of more like twists and braids kind of coming out from the sun during the totality period.
What about Bailey's beads? Can you explain what those are and if we're going to see those?
Yeah, so the Bailey's beads actually will show kind of right before you get into totality, and then you'll see it again too upon exit from totality. And so what that is it's the last rays of the sunlight that are going through the topography on the moon's surface.
Is there anything else that we should look for around us during those few minutes of darkness?
Yeah, so seeing what wildlife does is very interesting. So because the sunlight will decrease, it's kind of like a dawn or a dusk for animals. And so, I mean, animals, insects. So you might hear crickets that start to chirp, or birds might start to talk more, or bats might start to fly because they're thinking that, oh, it's time for me to come out. And so listening to the sounds and then feeling the temperature change, and it's just a full experience.
The National Weather Service is upgrading its prediction capabilities in the Central Plains. Last week, the agency refurbished its 40-year-old radar system near St. Louis with new state-of-the-art equipment. Travis Cummings shows us the monumental project.
Our radar's been spinning since the late 80s, so basically 40 years, 24/7, 365, this thing's been spinning, and so everything in it's just starting to wear down.
Thursday morning, crews were on deck and a big crane hovered in the sky at the National Weather Service St. Louis. It's all to switch out a radar that was well beyond its 25-year lifespan.
So we're replacing the guts of the radar, taking the dome off, taking the pedestal off, and replacing it with a new pedestal. So a really exciting morning for us here.
Warning coordination meteorologist Kevin Deitch says the tool is key in warning the public about weather activity.
When we're talking severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood, tornado warnings, all of that uses radar information to tell us where the storms are and how bad they are. So this is a vital, really life safety equipment that we're replacing this morning.
Once the replacement is done, crews will put this big radome here back on the pedestal. This refurbishment is just one of many happening across our nation to make sure our radars are viable into the 2030s.
Over 120 radars are being replaced with the same exact process. So we're kind of joking with the foreman here. We're one of the last ones that they've done, so they got this down to a science.
This project comes during Severe Weather Preparedness Week in Missouri. With climate change and unpredictable skies, Deitch says any time to get things up to date is a good time.
We had tornadoes in October. We have tornadoes in December. We have obviously winter storms through the winter. So, you pick the best time you can and try to get the work done. And that's what we're trying to do here.
We talked earlier about flooding that happened over the weekend along the East Coast. We want to make sure you are aware, weather aware, and know what to do if you are in an area where there's a risk of flooding. So let's turn to meteorologist CHARLESTON Clark, who recently posted about flooding dangers on TikTok.
To talk about flooding, it is certainly one of the deadliest natural disasters. So the first thing that you need to do is pay attention, especially if you live along a creek or river, along the coast. Pay attention to high tide cycles, pay attention to rainfall rates, right? If you notice that water is starting to get just a little bit higher, get to higher ground immediately. Avoid those floodwaters, not only because you don't know what's in those waters, but you also don't know the depth. And that's where turn around, don't drown also comes into play, right? If you are, let's say, driving through an area that you know is flood prone, right? You know that every time it rains, it floods. Make sure you turn around, don't drown. Even if you drive that road every single day, you just truly never know the depth of it. So make sure that you don't go past those barricades. They are clearly up for a reason. Make sure that you come across that barricade and you say, you know what? We're going to save my engine and my life today, and we are going to find an alternate route. That is the most important thing for sure. I know that a lot of that can sound really repetitive and really annoying, but as meteorologists, we always want to make sure that you are staying safe. And one of the ways that you can do so is by being prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws at you.
And time for a short break, but first we soar over Pennsylvania's Blue Knob State Park. Enjoy.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Pretty mild for most of the Midwest today. A lot of sunshine and everyone's staying dry for your Monday to start the week. Now, I got a little bit of rain starting to try to move its way into Missouri. It's going to be for late Tuesday. And then by the time that we get to Wednesday, it builds a little bit more. Got some scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms out across the plains here. But we will be dealing with temperatures running above normal over the next several days. So get outside and enjoy it. Today looks beautiful across the Midwest.
Hope you're having a great Monday. I'm meteorologist Mary Wasson for the National Weather Desk. We're going to see some clouds early on coming in from the south and southwest, but as the day wears on, those clouds will give way to a little bit of sunshine. Temperatures in the 40s to near 50s to start the day, but by the afternoon, we're talking upper 60s and low 70s across the Lone Star State, and then even by the evening, we're talking temperatures in the 60s with a mostly to partly cloudy sky.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We have some temperatures warming up gradually, getting closer to normal for much of the West Coast when we have a series of storm systems. They're fronts that are tracking in as they move into the Rockies and parts of the Southwest. They're bringing a lot of rainfall, especially along the Washington and Oregon coastline into North California, and some very heavy mountain snow moving inland to the Rockies. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A stormy weekend in western Washington, the active skies captured in these still photos. It brought heavy rain, gusty winds, and snow to the Cascades. Ferry rides had a rough go of it Saturday, but this rainbow near the Edmonds Ferry looks like it's coming from the middle of the boat. And check out this sun pillar. These usually form around sunrise or sunset when light reflects off falling ice crystals in the clouds.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Have you ever asked yourself just how much wind tall buildings can handle before falling down? Theron Zahn posted about that very topic on X, known as Twitter.
Freezing rain seen on this radar image in parts of central Oregon and Washington is one of the most dreaded weather phenomenons. It happens when a warm front overruns some cold air at the surface. That rain falls through that super cooled air, causing that rain to freeze on just about any surface, roads, houses, trees. Unlike rain or snow, freezing rain is pretty much impossible to drive in. Many wrecks, very dangerous. It's recommended you don't try to travel at all when you see pink like this on the radar.
And we would love to share your weather content on our air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amira David. Make it a great Monday, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.